This poem is called The Settlers, and it's dedicated to my forefathers and all the intrepid men and women who settled the Oklahoma Panhandle. Across these barren hills, the cold winds blow, as bitter now as in those days long past, when first their rustic wagon, rolling slow, came down a slope against an icy blast and settled on this grassy spot below, its bonnet battered by the wind's assault, where with a tug of reins and raspy whoa, the driver brought his horses to a halt. They'd come from far away to stake a claim, to build a future on this wild frontier. Despite initial doubts, by faith they came. They dared to trust in God and cast out fear. Their journey here had not been free of pain, for fever met them early on their way and struck their youngest, who infirm had lain for days before death ferried him away. They'd spent long nights with shotguns by their side, stretched out beneath their wagon in the cold, their sleep disturbed each time a screech owl cried, and by their fears of what the dark might hold. The wild hog's grunt, the lone coyote's howl, strange rustling sound beyond the campfire's light, from some wild creature creeping on the prowl, would keep them praying all throughout the night. And now, at last, they'd reach their future home upon this windswept plain, this no man's land. They'd come to settle here, no more to roam, to labor hard, upheld by God's own hand. Thus, having only what was in their hearts and in their wagon, they asked God to bless their efforts to establish in these parts a home, a shelter in the wilderness. Their trek here ended, yet there still remained around them threats and dangers close at hand. The life they knew would never be the same now that they'd come to this forbidding land. The first task that befell them was to build a dugout, which they'd need to stay alive, a place of refuge, safe and dry and filled with everything they needed to survive. Such dwellings carved out from the solid earth, with sod roofs lying just above the ground, may not have seemed like much, but they were worth their weight in gold when twisters came to town. Then they would serve to keep a family safe, as violent nature tore through field and farm, when howling winds bore down as if to strafe them all. The sod walls kept them all from harm. But dugouts serve a temporary role. Their roofs can leak or give way in a storm. They cannot keep out viper, mouse, or mole, nor buzzing flies in summer when they swarm. The dream by which the settlers' hopes are fed is to construct a frame house that can be the hub of farming life in years ahead, a proper place to raise a family. And so this pilgrim couple got to work, determined to give birth to their brainchild. Though perils threatened, they refused to shirk from making here a palace in the wild. Right here they lived and worked and worshiped God and raised up offspring as the Lord ordained, and bearing hardship, farmed the fruitful sod through years of toil as long as life remained. And now their earthly frames, which once were strong and full of youth, have found a place of rest beneath the land on which they labored long, received at last into its earthy breast. That land which they were pleased to call their own, which gave them grief and joy and tears and smiles, now shelters them beneath the winter's moon in silent chambers after many miles. No raindrops reach them where they nobly lie. No frigid breezes ever chill their frame. No raucous laughter nor a wailing cry disturbs their sleep, where every day's the same. Their pilgrim journey ended here at last, united with the precious land they loved. They slowly merge into that sea so vast, a fertile soil fed from the sky above. I greet them here upon this winter's day, while standing by their graves, now draped with snow, and thank God for their lives as thoughts give way to visions of their journey long ago. I look upon this land with grateful heart stretched out before me, which they used to know. And though in terms of time we stand apart, I feel their pilgrim's blood within me flow. Their spirit, like the fine wind-driven dust that blows across this landscape without end, blows through my soul and makes me feel I must share in their dream, their legacy extend. That legacy of faith and hope and love lives on in me by God's most gracious will. And when, like them, I sleep, may God above make his wind blow through future pilgrims still.